Do you know why the Robin has a red breast, girls? Marina Rogers and Gwendolyn Baker giggle at breast. You shift in your acrylic school skirt acrid with late summer sweat. A couple of weeks earlier, Julia Grayson said orgasm instead of organism in biology, and Mrs. Errington, the biology teacher, quips, "There is a bit of a difference," as Julia turns period blood red and the class erupts. You discuss it at break time with Mariana and Gwendy and decide that Mrs. Errington must know because she's married. You go through the list of teachers, the married ones, spinsters and nuns. Sister Angelica wouldn't, unless she masturbates. But you agree that nuns aren't allowed. You are relieved. You don't want to imagine Sister Angelica doing that. You know what masturbation is because you read it in the problem pages in Just 17. A litany of am I normal if or is it normal too? These letters and their replies fill the gaps in a sex education which consists of saying no until you can't stand it. At which point you go to the priest and get married and have children to share God's love. And the magazines, more gynecological than Playboy, sneaked in from Anita Segal's dad's newsagents, and the passages of Virginia Andrews' Flowers in the Attic read out loud in the book cupboard at break time. But you are still eager to be good girls. Bernadette Easington wants to become a nun, her wide blue eyes upturned to the ceiling and lips pursed in prayer. A perfect picture of sublimated sexuality. You still want to be a princess. You watch the wedding in junior school, scrutinising the sapphire suit and a ring and that creased wedding dress you didn't like. Your grandparents got you the commemorative coin and mug. You think that even Lee Turner, gyrating and grinding on top of a desk and boasting about boyfriends, must want that too. The Robin has his red breast because he flew down and tried to pluck the nails from Jesus' hands while he was dying on the cross to save us from our sins. You learn later that the nails aren't driven into his hands, like in all the crucifixes above the blackboards and around the nuns' necks. Miss Bainbridge describes Roman crucifixion techniques in scientific detail in RE. The nails are driven through the gap in the wrist bones because the hands would be torn apart by the weight of the body. Your wrists still feel fuzzy when you think about it. Sister Angelica writes The Robin in chalk on the blackboard, adding to the list of wintry things, snow, holly, Christmas and Santa. You know this because she says each word before writing it, especially for you, but without letting anyone else know, because she knows. Her back is turned to the class. A rookie mistake. I wonder what Santa will be getting her this year, Lee mumbles. The class giggles knowingly. It is just loud enough for Sister Angelica to hear something, but not loud enough for her to hear exactly what. She turns, stares at Lee. What did you say? Nothing, Sister Angelica. Butter wouldn't melt in her faux sweet mouth. Another rookie mistake. You don't accuse without evidence. You feel sick for Sister Angelica. Her face is pale against a dark veil, her hands fluttering and fragile. She is a Bernini martyr in living marble, illuminated in her agony and ecstasy by a shaft of light through the high school room window. Lee made a student teacher run out of the room crying when she asked to go to the toilet again and was denied until she got out from behind a desk, clutching her crotch and half crawling to the door, yelling that she was going to wet herself. You looked on, feeling embarrassed for the teacher, who you imagined thought that it would be a nice little job that would get her home in time to make tea and to fit in with her children's school holidays. She didn't come back. I want you to write poems about winter. Oh, Lee rolls her eyes, sighs loudly and complains. Oh, but it's only September, sister. It's still warm outside. How are we supposed to get inspiration? Mariana chips in, clever and cheeky. She knows her good marks and soloist status in the school choir will keep her safe. Does it have to be about robins? Radha Khan wants to get down to work, doesn't care about inspiration, just rules. Hers will be the best anyway. No, not at all. It's just a winter bird, that's all. Actually, they're in the garden all year round, Mariana. Yes, Mariana, but it's associated with winter and Christmas because of Christ and its red breast. More giggles. Sister Angelica is on a losing streak. Lee's managed to waste at least 10 minutes already. You look outside at the sunny lawn. If you don't start soon, you'll be in at break again. It's all right for Mariana. She'll write something good in her perfect handwriting in no time, and Lee will just hand in any old thing, and then they'll get to enjoy the sunshine. Anyway, I thought we'd make an early start. Another rookie mistake. You don't use we. You don't discuss. You don't justify. You tell. There is more mumbling and questioning. Another few minutes of discussing and complaining, and the task will all have to be completed for homework. Or not at all. And Lee will have won. Then Sister Angelica plays her master stroke. I didn't want to tell you, but... She pauses, and the class goes quiet. I wanted it to be a surprise. She's got their attention now, especially if one of our girls wins. Wins what? Even Lee is curious. W.H. Smith's National Poetry Competition. The theme is winter. A frisson at the mention of the word competition. What's the prize? Never mind that. There'll be no prizes if there aren't any poems. Now, let's get on with it. But it's a rubbish prize anyway, Lee mutters. You stare out of the window that is purposely placed too high to block out any distractions. But you can see the top of the trees and the grotto with its statue of Our Lady of Lords, where you used to play in junior school, building dens in the rocks. You look around the classroom. Rada sits ramrod straight in the front row. Platt's perfect, pen poised. She's the one whose exercise books the teachers show to the inspectors. Lee slouches, a redhead propped on her elbow, chewing her biro provocatively, navy kilt pulled up high, and white socks pushed down low. Mariana and Gwendy exchange clever, top of the class smirks and begin to write with grade A efficiency. You stare out of the window. The trees are still there, and the grotto. Then back at the class. All the heads are down now, writing. You look down at your exercise book, at the page, the blank page. You'll look back and think how easy your professional predecessors had it. No dreaming up inspirational lessons, structuring the hour with progression of amusing activities. No doing more than the ungrateful kids who get to watch goodness knows what on their screens while their parents crack open a can and watch Netflix downstairs every night. Some words on the board for the girls to copy down neatly, and you're free for the rest of the lesson. But Sister Angelica is and always will be different. She has gone to the trouble of finding something she thinks you will find interesting and inspiring. She'll spend her free time sifting through your poems and sending them away. You sit in awe of her, up on a dais, pronouncing her knowledge to the girls only interested in pop music, fashion and sex. Or at her desk marking an interminable pile of exercise books. You picture her sitting up late, a pale face illuminated by an angel-poised lamp, reading the great works of literature and marking a girl's work late at night. And then from another corner of your mind, the red robin comes bobbing along. Doris Day belts out of Grandma Callaghan's record player while the dust spirals in the late afternoon shafts of sunlight, and you lie absorbed in tracing the carpet's banana leaves, mustard against black. The red robin comes bobbing along. Gwendy would giggle at comes. You still don't understand the Frankie Goes to Hollywood lyrics, despite Gwendy explaining them to you. And then, as the bright red robin sings its song, my heart rings out aloud. My fingertips and toes shiver with the magic of its sound. Oh, magical bird in disguise, take your song to everyone, and I do not despise. No frost, no cold can harm me now, because its spell has worked. Every day at work and play, I look up on the wall, and there I see the robin, proud and tall but small. You're particularly proud of the last line. The bell goes. The class stirs. You look at the blank page in front of you. You are all standing to curtsy to Sister Angelica and sing-song. Thank you, Sister Angelica, in response to her. Thank you, class. The others file out, placing their completed work on Sister Angelica's desk. Out to a break of lying on the lawn, making the daisy chains and talking about sex. Mariana and Gwendy. Or chasing the workman, Lee. You know you'll have to spend the break alone in the dark classroom, trying to write the poem down on paper. Your parents bought you a fountain pen from Phoenix for your birthday because they thought it would make your writing better. You wanted to get your ears pierced. You look out at the Indian summer sky. It won't last. It's almost October. You look down at the empty page. Slowly take the top off your Parker pen. Brushed chrome with a sapphire P engraved with your initials for free. You wait to be alone, so you can concentrate. You can't stop thinking about when you helped Sister Angelica to arrange the flowers in the chapel. Her lily-white hands handling the most perfect white lilies, folds of alabaster flesh around flaming stamens. But she doesn't leave the room with her pile of battered exercise books to go for a tea in the stuffy staff room. She indicates for you to come over to a desk on the raised platform. You think that you'll be told off? You haven't been told off by Sister Angelica yet. She is the only teacher who doesn't complain that she can't read your writing. The other teachers keep up a steady stream of, you should try harder, shouldn't you get your work done, can't read your writing. Examiners won't bother reading it, they'll just fail it. Fail you. Now she's going to start. You shuffle over, head down, waiting for the inevitable. But Sister Angelica says, now you tell me your poem and I'll be your amanuensis. You look puzzled, but thrilled by the long word, pronounced just for you, because as she knows, you love long words, even if you can't spell them. I'll write it down for you. She says she likes, proud and tall but small, and smiles. Now you go and enjoy the sunshine. You still have 10 minutes before RE. You lie down on the warm grass next to Mariana and Gwendy. They're used to you staying in to finish work, so just continue the conversation about which member of Duran Duran they fancy the most. It's a serious competition between John Taylor, Simon Le Bon and Nick Rhodes. Mariana likes John Taylor and Gwendy likes Simon Le Bon. You like Nick Rhodes, but pretend you like John Taylor to keep in with Mariana. You think of Sister Angelica, her long white hand holding a pen so firmly, the faultless lines on the page. The patch of sky in the high windows is almost black. The storage heaters belt out their stale heat and the classroom smells of wet wool. You are half asleep in the fog. And then, outside the glass doors, there is the head mistress, Sister Paulina, and a man. Sister Angelica stands up from behind a desk, and you stand to sing-song your greetings. Good afternoon, Sister Paulina, and good afternoon, Mr. Man. He is from W.H. Smith and announces, one of your girls has won highly commended in our national poetry competition. An electric current runs through the rows of desks. It'll be Rada or at least Mariana or Gwendy. They sit up super straight and smile at Mr. Man, clever and confident. Expectant. Lee swings her still bare legs around from under her desk. She knows there are more effective ways of getting a man's attention. Then, you hear your name. You are being called. You are sleepwalking up to the rostrum. Mr. Man is shaking your hand, giving you a certificate, asking you to read your poem. You stare at the piece of paper that Sister Paulina has kindly provided for the occasion. Rada, Mariana and Gwendy stare at you. Lee stares at Mr. Man. You stare at Sister Angelica. She knows the reason behind the blank sheets of paper, the failed tests. She gently takes a sheet out of your hands, and you hear her say, just a bit of stage fright. I'll read it if you like. The canteen smells of overcooked meat and cabbage. Tall but small, but... Mariana sings out behind you in the lunch queue. You tell her to shut up. So she sings, shut up, in a baby voice. You don't queue with her and Gwendy at lunchtimes after that, or sit with them at breaks. You spend your time in the classroom with Sister Angelica, who forgoes her cup of tea and gossip to take you through the books for girls half your age, tracing her delicate finger over each letter, sounding them out. Then it's your turn to trace and sound out each letter, word, sentence, paragraph, chapter, book. And then your fingers touch by chance. And she knows. Shards of sunlight break into the classroom. It's the last week of summer term and you're all desperate for release. Sister Paulina appears behind the frosted glass door. You stand to sing-song. Good afternoon, Sister Paulina. She stands above us, announcing that this will be Sister Angelica's last class. She's leaving to do God's work for the Orders Missionary School in Africa. She knows that she doesn't want any fuss, so is leaving without any ceremony, but thinks we should take this opportunity to thank her for all her hard work. You stand sing-songing. Thank you, Sister Angelica, and goodbye, Sister Angelica. She appears in the photo in the autumn issue of the school magazine in front of a mud brick school with lines of children in bright white shirts, boys on one side with a young priest and girls on the other side next to her. Mariana and Gwendy bet she's in love with him and start to go on about the Thornbirds. You think of her beautiful white hand holding her pen and her beautiful handwriting and her beautiful singing voice reading out your poem. Her space is filled by a succession of ancient women, lumpy in tweed skirts and hand knits who drone on through endless afternoons which melt into years. You don't look back, as a rule. Don't take up the invitations for cups of tea or nights out when you bump into old girls. Ignore the Facebook groups and reunions, but here you are walking down the darkened corridors, past the chapel with its heady hit of incense, past the dining hall that still smells of overcooked school dinners, past the classrooms with their high windows to Sister Angelica's room. You go in, up to the rostrum, take out your poem written in her beautiful hand, by her beautiful hand, and you read out loud, "Proud and tall, tall and proud."